Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Troublemaker. This is Wargame European Escalation, and we have a match today between the blue NATO player. His name is Darricks, actually playing on his actual account, not a Smurf account. And Darricks is somebody who is notoriously good. Very, very good. His opponent is a 1950 ELO rated player. He has lots of exclamation points in his name, and he's playing as pact. His name is I Eat Cats. Of course, cat eating is not weird or odd. They are a great source of nutrition. The only reason why it's taboo is because it's considered pets. But I'm sure the meat tastes fine. There's kind of this urban legend that the Chinese eat cats. And it's an urban legend because it's only half true. The general Chinese public is split into two groups. And it's even split into even more groups than that. But for the sake of this, there's two groups. One's called the Mandarin, who are the mainland Chinese, who speak a different language from the second group, who are the Cantonese. The Cantonese were the old ruling body of China before Mao Zedong took over and gave power to the majority. And the Cantonese are also the people who live on Taiwan, or Taipei, or the Republic of China, as it's formerly called. They eat cats. The Cantonese actually represent a very, very small amount of the mainland Chinese people, and not everybody within that community eats cats. But the Mandarin community, the dominating one, the ruling one, actually frown upon eating cats. It's kind of a national policy not to eat cats. The fact that Cantonese do it, they cannot stop though. So yeah, we're gonna see some of these shallows out. These BTR-70 shallows. These are your tank destroyer option. This is the pact equivalent to the Marshall VTS-1. Looks like he's got two commands out, so it's not gonna be some cheesy all in. You get the one Dana. Having just one artillery is pretty good because you can get the stun factor, and if your opponent doesn't rush, you can whittle him down as well. And from Darricks, we're going to see this odd choice. 3 gazelles, no recon there. And 2 gazelles here. Probably going to be used for spotting along the sides for cheese and for any kind of helo drops. Playing very safe. He's going to keep his hotel base. This course is Hell's Highway. Hell's Highway is notorious for cheese, so it's very smart to play safe here. Now we're seeing here already a little bit of cheese here. Let's see, he's got the disadvantage side. Oh, looks like it's going to be I Eat Cats. There's a disadvantage here for one player. There is a town here, and if this is occupied, it's very hard to remove. This is compared to over here, which there is none, and it's just a little bush, which is much, much easier to remove. Having infantry in these buildings is key. If you get your enemy's infantry in here, you are in a lot of trouble. And they make Canadian barrels here with the red and white stripe. Could also be Swiss, but probably Canadian. And so he's going to rush ahead with a gunship helicopter, a recon, and a single Mi-8 TV. We're just going to bring a spec ops squad. Looks like he's going to try and place here the Echo base. These helicopter drops are really good for rushing troops ahead. They can be quite hard to deal with, and looks like we're going to see Darricks just going to take position. He's got a lot of infantry, tons of tank destroyers. This looks like almost all Inish amount of tank destroyers, especially when he's got all these unloaded personnel carriers, which are very, very cheap and very effective, and he might just go for some crazy push. Who knows? He's going to secure Foxtrot. He wants to move his command armor, but he's not going to risk it just yet. Wants to instead. Maybe he's going to go for a push. Looks like he will. Like, this is a large group of tank destroyers and anti-infantry vehicles and anti-air and anti-tank, so he might just go for a push here. And he's going to try and secure this area here in hopes of someday putting a command armor here, and also go into the woods. This woods area is kind of scary because if units get through here, this road here, they can come along here and hit you with a pincer attack on the side here, or they can also rush down to your main base. And yes, he's going to in fact move the commander up. He knows no cheese has come from Mr. I Eat Cats, and now here comes his cheese, his all in. And look at this, spotted by a helicopter with its very high increased range. Going to try and pick off some of these infantry carriers. There's a single TPC folks leading the charge. Not sure if that's intended. Now with this artillery, this should get smoshed up pretty heavily if he can get a good amount of artillery shots. In fact, look at this. He's going straight down the middle. Probably wanted to go for this Charlie base maybe. Hard to tell. Lots of these flame PZ tanks here, those TO-55s, knock me in the choice. Oh, not a good thing. 4 shallows are going to move out into the open, and it's just a lot of units. And luckily he doesn't engage there, otherwise he would have lost those for free. And the Dana pounding on what? Looks like he's going to try and go for this Foxtrot base, not even really paying attention to this massive ball of army here. Doesn't know about it actually, and now he knows the shallow is getting wiped out. He just thought it was just a small group of units, but here we go. The TO-55s do have a small weapon on them that will do some damage. The shallows are pulling back. He needs to get a lot more force up here. Like, this other group of shallows should move up. He needs to get his helicopters there. He needs to get really something. He needs to get anti-tank options. He's in a lot of trouble. This rush might do more damage than it ought to have, just because of how few anti-tank options were available. And Flampers, look at all this great stunning coming here from the Flampers. Morale damage galore. And these infantry carriers are just not able to get in there. They are, however, doing their job, which is soaking the damage as the bulk of the forces of Darricks are still uncontested. Wow, massive open battlefield this is. This is not a kind of rush that Darricks does, showing a little bit of variety in his play. And just wiping out these flame PZ tanks. He's got to get rid of one more before he can really push forward. There we go. There is a PT-76B here. It is an anti-tank recon, which should be harder to spot and harder to kill, which will work out pretty well. And here comes some Jalas moving into position, trying to get some good crit armor. There's also 2 over here which are getting smashed by these tank destroyers of Darricks. And Darricks need to push him forward. He's running out of fuel, however, so this engagement will have to end relatively soon, especially with these 106s, which are apparently very high fueled. And here we go. All these M1113s are in range, hitting the shallow. If he can get some good shots off with his tank destroyers, he should be able to clean them up. So far, Darricks' rush is paying out. 100-point lead for Darricks as he continues pushing forward. Another Flame PZ TO-55 has been rallied out. What a weird choice this ends up being. But here comes the napalm. Ooh, big napalm shot. Hits 2 infantry carriers. 1 knocked out. Stun on this other one. And if he can continue with this, he might be able to stay in this. All the while, the tank destroyers are just not dying. Tunguska is attacking the infantry carriers and could get wiped out itself. He's going to bring in the recon helicopter to try and pick some stuff up. More of these Flame PZ TO-55s. He did have a Smirch here, which was used defensively. And he's really loving on these Flame PZ carriers. They must have got a pretty significant buff for this, because they're actually doing quite well. It's still a 100-point lead, however, for Darricks. And now, finally, these tank destroyers are getting cleaned up. There was a side flank here. Mott Schützens coming from the rear. Basically, the worst fear of Darricks is 40 Mott Schützens will rush and pick off the retreating path of these poor tank destroyers, which are now doomed. And now looks like Darricks' attack will have possibly failed, or at least broken even. Possibly broken even. Didn't get any command armor kills, didn't get a significant army kill. But whoa, this Mott Schützen actually can run out of their RPGs very quickly, so if Darricks can micro this back, he might still be in this. A lot of these infantry carriers, though, however, are completely out of fuel and are stuck here. Going to get picked off by this PT-76B. Actually, the amount of damage that these M113s are doing is insane. Oh, this is something I never saw. There's actually a back flank here of AML Lynx's TPZ folks coming around the back, forcing the commander around. Suddenly, things are going sideways for eatthecats, as oh, these poor Fuchs infantry carriers are going to get possibly completely wiped out by fire damage. And yes, they do. The auger is dropped reluctantly on top of a Flame PZ carrier, and they go down real quickly. The Sagne, another one of these recon with anti-tank options. Gonna try and pick off that Flame PZ TO-55. Tank versus recon, epic battle. Look at this bad boy. He says, "Sup, I can see you. I see you in the bushes." Although it looks like this flank has mostly been cleaned up. There's still a few more. And there's a Sagne coming along here from Darricks. He's going to use this to try and pick off some of the weakened down remnants. No doubt this Tunguska, if he can hit from the side, he can get a bonus shot, which would be awesome. And yeah, Darricks is a pretty brutal opponent. He has wiped out this Charlie base. So now there's only one real base here for eatthecats, and yes, I know the command armor is right here, but he can't use it. It's stuck. It's absolutely stuck. There's no way nowhere he can bring it to. You can try bring it to Echo, but that's kind of risky. So for now, it's stuck in the woods, and Darricks is actually moving in on it. So Darricks doing very, very well. 200 points ahead, and yes, there's just enough infantry in here so that he can't really do anything. He's going to try and get this Lynx back, but will the Lynx die? Let's call it Dinks. And it is currently stunned. Ooh, lots of big shots from these infantry. The Machutans tearing apart the tank line, and 2 hit points left. It will survive, just barely though. There is an FJB, 40. Your anti-air infantry, and Machutans versus Jagers. Looks like the Machutans will win this with a superior number count. And all the while, whoa, look at this. Look at this. Darricks, so good, catches these Vizakaris off guard. He has 50 Jagers, creating a surround so these guys cannot escape, and he will engage right away. He's got to push in all the Jagers, of course, and major battles happening down here. The Jagers are closing in on the commander. The commander is just always nearly escaping, and looks like it will escape once again. Up here, looks like the Vizakaris might be just overwhelmed, or at least do a lot of damage. Vizakaris, of course, are your typical anti-infantry shock trooper, and them doing very, very well in the jungle, but the closing Jagers here should be able to take them out. Here comes 3 TB trying to pick off this commander before he can get to anywhere. He splits them up immediately, wanting to get maximum exposure, and he's going to move in these OT Scott 2s. He's got the Scott 2, which is not a standardized choice, but it does have a gun on it, and he's going to run it right into a Jager. Right into 20 Jagers. And looks like he'll lose them all. Most definitely. Another small little skirmish here. This is a huge key point. Darricks knows that he has brought full force lots of Jagers. He seems to be producing more troops than is possible. And he's going to try and take this from these Vizakaris. Might be a little bit of an overinvestment, but with the Sagni here, that's actually a huge help. The Sagni going to be able to spot. And now this position belongs to Darricks. So Darricks has taken out the command armor. That was right here. He has done a reinforcement block in this little imbalanced part of the map. He has successfully defended the reinforcement block of eatthecats, and he has now secured all forward positions. This is most definitely a Darricks win. There won't be much left to this match. He has thoroughly wiped the bum, I believe that's the expression, of his opponent, eatthecats, and it's just a matter of time. At this point, he could actually just make a bunch of helicopters. He could bombard with artillery. He could just make a bunch of defensive units. And we're seeing eatthecats getting a little bit desperate, trying to do some cheap stuff, and actually just taps out, realizing he cannot win his way into the beta. So eatthecats, with a total victory of 1,500 points to 741, or 21-66, as they'd say. Darricks beats the superior ELO'd eatthecats, who has a picture of a happy wolf. That's confusing. And eatthecats will not be in the beta. I have one more game today. Stay tuned. It's a good one with a Noka and a low ELO player. Thank you guys for watching.